Hi, hello and welcome to your travel and tourism education tourism video YouTube channel. Micro level of many tourist destinations in a single YouTube channel. We always need your support and cooperation for developing your YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share and comment. Without wasting your valuable time, let's start watching.
Dear friends, in this episode we are going to see the history of travel and tourism. 2000 years before Christ, in India and Mesopotamia, travel for trade was an important feature since the beginning of civilization. The port at Lothal was an important center of trade between the Indus Valley Civilization and the Sumerian Civilization 600 BC, and thereafter the earliest form of leisure tourism can be traced as far back as the Babylonian and Egyptian empires. A museum of historic antiquities was open to the public in Babylon. The Egyptians held many religious festivals that attracted the devout and many people who thronged to cities to see famous works of arts and buildings. In India, as elsewhere, kings traveled for empire building. The Brahmins and the common people traveled for religious purposes. Thousands of Brahmins and the common folk thronged Sarnath and Sravasti to be greeted by the inscrutable smile of the enlightened one, the Buddha. 500 BC. The Greek civilization. The Greek tourists traveled to sites of healing gods. The Greeks also enjoyed their religious festivals that increasingly became a pursuit of pleasure, and in particular, sport. Athens had become an important site for travelers visiting the major sites such as the Parthenon. Inns were established in large towns and seaports to provide for travelers' needs. Courtesans were the principal entertainment offered. This era also saw the birth of travel writing. Herodotus was the world's first travel writer. Guidebooks also made their appearance in the 4th century, covering destinations such as Athens, Sparta and Troy. Advertisements in the way of signs directing people to inns are also known in this period. The Roman Empire, with no foreign borders between England and Syria, and with safe seas from piracy due to Roman patrols, the conditions favoring travel had arrived. First-class roads coupled with staging inns, precursors of modern motels, promoted the growth of travel. Romans traveled to Sicily, Greece, Rhodes, Troy, and Egypt. From 300 AD, travel to the Holy Land also became very popular. The Romans introduced their guidebooks, Itineraria, listing hotels with symbols to identify quality. Second homes were built by the rich near Rome, occupied primarily during springtime social season. The most fashionable resorts were found around Bay of Naples. Naples attracted the retired and the intellectuals. Cumae attracted the fashionable, while Baia attracted the down-market tourist, becoming noted for its rowdiness, drunkenness, and all-night singing. Travel and tourism were to never attain a similar status until the modern times. In the Middle Ages, travel became difficult and dangerous as people traveled for business or for a sense of obligation and duty. Adventurers sought fame and fortune through travel. The Europeans tried to discover a sea route to India for trade purposes, and in this fashion discovered America and explored parts of Africa. Strolling players and minstrels made their living by performing as they traveled. Missionaries, saints, etc. traveled to spread the sacred word. Leisure travel in India was introduced by the Mughals. The Mughal kings built luxurious palaces and enchanting gardens at places of natural and scenic beauty. For example, Jahangir traveled to Kashmir, drawn by its beauty. Travel for empire building and pilgrimage was a regular feature. The Grand Tour. From the early 17th century, a new form of tourism was developed as a direct outcome of the Renaissance. Under the reign of Elizabeth I, young men seeking positions at court were encouraged to travel to continent to finish their education. Later, it became customary for education of gentlemen to be completed by a grand tour accompanied by a tutor and lasting for 3 or more years. While ostensibly educational, the pleasure-seeking men traveled to enjoy life and culture of Paris, Venice, or Florence. By the end of 18th century, the custom had become institutionalized in the gentry. Gradually, pleasure travel displaced educational travel. The advent of Napoleonic Wars inhibited travel for around 30 years and led to the decline of the custom of the Grand Tour. The development of the spas grew in popularity in the 17th century in Britain and a little later in the European continent as awareness about the therapeutic qualities of mineral water increased. Taking the cure in the spa rapidly acquired the nature of a status symbol. The resorts changed in character as pleasure became the motivation of visits. They became an important center of social life for the high society. In the 19th century they were gradually replaced by the seaside resort. The sun, sand, and sea resorts. The seawater became associated with health benefits. The earliest visitors therefore drank it and did not bathe in it. By the early 18th century, small fishing resorts sprung up in England for visitors who drank and immersed themselves in seawater. With the overcrowding of inland spas, the new seaside resorts grew in popularity. The introduction of steamboat services in 19th century introduced more resorts in the circuit. The seaside resort gradually became a social meeting point. Role of the Industrial Revolution in promoting travel in the West. The rapid urbanization due to industrialization led to mass immigration in cities. These people were lured into travel to escape their environment to places of natural beauty, often to the countryside they had come from. Change of routine from a physically and psychologically stressful jobs to a leisurely pace in countryside. Highlights of travel in the 19th century. Advent of railway initially catalyzed business travel and later leisure travel. Gradually special trains were chartered to only take leisure travel to their destinations. Package tours organized by entrepreneurs such as Thomas Cook. The European countries indulged in a lot of business travel, often to their colonies to buy raw material and sell finished goods. The invention of photography acted as a status-enhancing tool and promoted overseas travel. The formation of first hotel chains, pioneered by the railway companies who established great railway terminus hotels. Seaside resorts began to develop different images as for daytrippers, elite, for gambling. Other types of destinations: ski resorts, hill stations, mountaineering spots, etc. The technological development in steamships promoted travel between North America and Europe. The Suez Canal opened direct sea routes to India and the Far East. The cult of the guidebook followed the development of photography. Thanks for joining with us. Thanks for watching your travel and tourism education tourism video YouTube channel. Please subscribe, share, like and comment. Take care. See you in the next episode. Article source: ezinarticles.com